At this time, I call back to order the Pasco County Board of County Commission meeting on March 12th, 2024. Please silence all electronic devices and mute your microphones. You want to make a statement?
Yeah, I did. I just wanted to share with everybody here that I got word a few days ago that Commissioner Hildebrand passed away a few weeks ago in Alabama. So I think a moment of silence is inappropriate. So.
Let's bow our heads on a moment of silence. Okay, so she's missed. She's she did a good job for the Pasco County for a long time.
29 years, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
District 3.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah.
I'll miss her.
My mentor.
Yep. All right, we're going to start off with public hearings, starting with ordinances. Item 50, P50.
P50 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, November 22nd, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Victorious Pitos, Planning and Economic Growth Department. Item P50 is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for text amendments to future land use element appendix, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repeal or severability and an effective date. This is a continuance request to a date uncertain.
You gave the date.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you need a motion?
It was advertised as a continuance, so you
Yep.
need to take a motion.
Okay.
Move to continue.
Second.
Got a motion. Roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P51.
Okay, so P51 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, January 24, 2024. Similar to an issue we had at the last meeting, this was in the Tampa Bay Times. There was a Scrivener's error that at the bottom corner of the paper, it said 1/21/2024, but it was, we do have proof that it was published on the January 24th. So just wanted to make that note for the record.
Was it published as a continuance to this date, or?
It is shown on your agenda
Yes.
today as a continuance
Yes.
to a date uncertain. So
Okay.
it's going to have to be re-advertised, and that will resolve the clerk's problem
Okay.
anyway.
All right.
Move to continue.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P52.
Item
P-
P50, I'm sorry.
Yep, P52 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times, January 24, 2024, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Okay.
Item P52 is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15 and sheet 15, from Res 6, residential 6 dwelling units per gross acre, to OF, office, on approximately 2/3 of an acre of real property located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Happy Hill Road and Lakeview Drive, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repeal or severability and an effective date. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval.
Okay. So, we have anyone signed up for this item?
No, sir, we do not.
Is anyone in the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing no one? Move approval?
Second.
Got a motion second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P53.
So P53 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, November 22nd, 2023, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Okay.
Item P53 is PEG 240032. It's an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15 and sheet 12, from ROR, retail, office, residential, COM, commercial, and Res 3, residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre, to PD, planned development, on approximately 76.72 acres of real property located south of State Road 52, approximately 900 feet west of Land O'Lakes Boulevard, and a text amendment creating sub-area policy flu 7176, Land O'Lakes 5241, and a map amendment to the future land use map, map 2-9, adding sub-area map 2-976, Land O'Lakes 5241, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. This comes to you with the recommendation of approval, and if the board desires a presentation, we can do that.
Okay, has anyone signed up for this item?
No, sir.
No one signed up. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing no one? Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P54.
P54 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, January 4, 2024, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P54 is PEG 240100. It is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15 and sheet 20, from Res 6, residential 6 dwelling units per gross acre, to COM, commercial, and CON, conservation, on approximately 7.12 acres of real property located at the north side, on the north side of State Road 54, approximately 1 mile west of Land O'Lakes Boulevard, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval, and if the board desires a presentation, we can do that.
Okay. Has anyone signed up for this item?
Yes, sir. I have one individual, Diana Rabufo.
Okay. Please come forward. Give your name and address for the clerk. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm somebody that was involved in this.
Before you speak, I'm
Name
sorry.
and address.
Your name and address for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Diana Robuffo, 2720 Haley Lane.
Okay.
Zip code is 34638.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Good? Okay. Somebody advised me, because my main concern was this to be possibly a commercial place for another apartment building, because there's 5 right now, 3.5 miles from my house, and 1 going across the street from Haley Lane 54 on that side. So I didn't want to have, we're already way, way overpopulated as it is over there, and quite frankly, I don't understand how, they can build that many apartments within that close of an area, but that's not the point. Anyway, she advised me that this is basically just for 1.5 acres for like a retail or a restaurant. I mean, if that's correct, and that's what it states, then I don't have a problem with that. I just didn't want to see no apartment buildings because we're overpopulated.
Okay.
Project overview says allow for the development of a 12,600 square foot retail/restaurant.
Okay. How tall is this?
I'm kind of can't really hear real good on the stairs, so.
How tall is the building? Is it 3-story, 4-story, or what is it?
12,000 square foot restaurant is going to be single story, I would imagine.
Single story?
But Terry's behind her.
Terry?
Okay, so I mean, if it's like just like a restaurant or a single store, I don't have a problem with that. I live on Haley Lane, so it's not like, it's like not too far away from there, like on the map. That was with the letter here that I got.
Okay.
Miss, the planning director will answer your question if you move away from the microphone so you can get there.
I'm sorry.
He'll answer you.
He'll answer your question if you will give him the mic.
Oh, okay. Get out of the way.
Okay.
Victoria's Pitos, Planning and Economic Growth. This project is for a 12,000 square foot, 600 square foot commercial structure. It's going to be located essentially along the State Road 54 frontage in this space here, which is about 1.5 acres of land. The rest of the parcel, as you can see, is covered by the yellow, which represents a wetland. All of that will be conserved so that nothing can be built on all of this back here. And the development will be fairly secluded and surrounded by the wetland. And so it'll be just a commercial development of a single story, 12,600 square foot type of project facing State Road 54.
Okay. So basically, it's just a restaurant that's there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay, that's what it is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Question? Yeah.
I have a question, Terry. Looking at the map, the frontage, is that on a frontage road? I mean, it doesn't touch 54, so what's going on there?
Those are the FDOT ponds that are between these right here are FDOT ponds for the right-of-way.
Okay.
So this parcel is fronting the State Road 54 right-of-way. It's just set back because of the ponds.
And what kind of pedestrian access is there to this property?
Right now, there is a sidewalk along that frontage on the north side of 54. You can sort of see it on the map here. It's this white line.
So that has a sidewalk right there at the front of the property?
The sidewalk goes behind the FDOT ponds.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
thank you.
All right, pleasure of the board. Oh.
Make sure that you
Is anyone else here to speak to this item? Seeing no one?
No one on WebEx either?
No one on WebEx.
Move approval?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, roll call.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to, well, now it's time for public hearings. Would you give them the procedures?
be happy to, Mr. Chairman. There are two rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended approval and there is no opposition to the application will be heard or will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended denial or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or Planning Commission recommendation or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request that the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code for rezonings.
Would you like me to swear in?
Madam Clerk, would you swear them in?
If anyone is going to speak to any other items on the agenda, please stand and raise your right hand. Swear you in. Okay, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
First item is P55.
Okay, so P55 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times September 20th, 2023, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings, it was continued from the November 14th, 23 and January 9th, 24 meetings to today.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Denise Hernandez, Planning and Economic Growth. I apologize.
P55 is PEG 247683. It's a rezoning in the name of Crossways MPUD. The request is to continue the item to the April 10th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Move to continue, time certain.
Second.
Motion second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P56.
Okay, P56 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times November 1st, 2023, and was continued from the January 9th and February 6th meeting to today.
P56 is PEG 247708. It's a zoning amendment in the name of St. Leo Commons, Villages of Pasadena Hills, MPUD, RDPDV, LLC. The request is to continue the item to the April 10th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Okay.
Move to continue, time certain.
Second.
Got a motion and a second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P57.
P57 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times December 20th, 2023, and it was continued from the February 6th meeting to today.
P57 is PEG 247718, zoning amendment in the names of Circle K at New State Road 52 and Prospect MPUD Stream Fruit LLC. The request is to continue the item to the April 10th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Move to continue, time certain.
Second.
Got a motion and a second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P58.
P58 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times December 20th, 2023, and it was continued from the February 6th meeting to today.
P58 is PEG 247760, zoning amendment in the name of New Clinton LLC. The request is to continue the item to the April 10th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Move to continue, time certain.
Second.
Got a motion and a second by...
Under
Oh,
discussion, I want to be sure and see the site plan, and I'm going to talk about these site plans of these multifamilies when we're done. Wanted to have a little bit of discussion, but we didn't have time for discussion under ours today.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm good to continue.
Okay. I've got a motion and a second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P59.
So P59 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times January 24th, 2024.
P59 is PEG 247765, zoning amendment in the name of Dempsey and Daughters, Inc., Dempsey and Daughters. The request is to continue the item to the April 10th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Move to continue, time certain.
Second.
Got a motion.
We're going to be there till 2 in the morning on that day?
You keep rolling them all over on April 10th. We'll have to change public hearing to start at 7 in the morning.
My dad moved his birthday.
Okay. All right, by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P60.
P60 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times December 20th, 2023.
P60 is PEG 240024. It's a comprehensive plan amendment, CPA 2301 Fletcher. The request is to continue the item to the March 26th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Newport Richey.
Move to continue, time certain.
Second.
Got a motion second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. We move to P61 is a consent item.
Can we move to P63, please?
All right. So P63 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times October 18th, 2023, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings. This item was continued from the December 5th and January 9th meeting to today.
Item P63 is PEG 247726, zoning amendment, Cherry Hills West MPUD Master Plan Unit Development, Veterans of Foreign Wars of U.S. Major Francis E. Dade, Post 4283, and others. The applicant has requested a continuance to the April 10th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City. If you would please call for public comment to see if there's anyone here to speak on the matter, please.
This one was not advertised
Was
as
not
a
advertised.
continuance on your agenda. So as the normal practice, I would recommend that you take public comment from anyone in the audience who wishes to speak, who may not attend the new continuance tape.
Okay?
If they choose to speak today, they can't speak when it comes back.
Right. Anyone wish to speak today on this item or wait till it comes back? Seeing no one?
Sir, there were two individuals signed up for P63. Eric, they're still not there, though? Correct? Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Move to continue time certain.
Second.
Under discussion, I just want to make sure that we're reserving right-of-way across the front for a multi-use pattern.
A roll call vote?
Okay, District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0, but it's a consent item. P62 is also a consent item.
That was
No, that
63.
was
So
63.
would
Oh,
you
that
like
was
to go back to
63. Well,
Yes,
I
sir.
Because it was being
Okay.
continued.
Yep. So that took care of,
That's
So we're back to
Oh, we
61
jumped.
and 62, your consent agenda.
oh, okay. Go back 61.
Okay, so P61 was advertised Tampa Bay Times,
already
November
did that.
22nd, 2023, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings. It was continued from the January 9th meeting to today.
P61 is PEG 247725. It's a zoning amendment, Land O'Lakes 5241 MPUD, Master Plan Unit Development, Sand Ridge Commercial LLC, and SR 52 Williams LLC. It's for a rezoning from an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development and RMH Mobile Home District to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development to allow for the maximum development of 130,000 square feet of commercial office, 300 multifamily dwelling units, and 50 townhomes. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions as included in your agenda packet, which includes the Live Local Act condition, specifically for the uses and zoning, and also for the ad valorem tax exemption. And that's condition number 51. Again, comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions from the Planning Commission and the Planning and Economic Growth Department.
Okay. This consent item, is anyone here to speak against this item?
Did I have?
There is no one signed up.
No one signed up, nobody on WebEx?
Correct.
Okay, the item will remain on consent. Move to P62.
P62 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, January 24th, 2024, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
P62 is PEG 247765. It's a zoning amendment, New River LTD Pasco Hoke Corporation, New River Hoke, for a change in zoning from a C2 general commercial district to an MF1 multiple family medium density district to basically to develop the site with a maximum number of 140 townhomes. That's within the voluntarily agreed upon deed restriction. It also incorporates development standards from policy memo 26, which have to do with architectural standards, monotony control, and landscaping. Comes to you with a recommendation of approval from the Planning and Economic Growth Department and the Planning Commission.
Mr. Chairman, I want to pull this one.
You want to? Okay. All right, that is pulled. That's the end of the consent agenda. By roll call vote on
You need a motion to approve the 61 as the only item on the
Yeah,
consent.
the 61.
Move
Right.
approval P61 consent.
Second.
Okay. District 2 Commissioner Waitman. Aye. District 3 Commissioner Starkey. Aye. District 4 Commissioner Bradford. District 5 Commissioner, District 5 Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1 Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Go back to the pooled item,
62.
P62.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So the reason I pulled it is I looked at the declaration of covenants, conditions, and restrictions, and on section number 3, it says the driveway width should be a maximum of 2 feet wider in total than the garage door width. This is something that we talked about at the commission level. There's no room to the side. You've got to walk in your grass to get up. And I wanted to see it to be the maximum of 4 feet. So you have 2 feet on both sides to make it easy for someone to be able to get out of the car, walk up the side, and get out there to get into their house. That was the first one. Second one, on V, it says townhome products with one-car garages shall have one-car driveways.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to have one person come visit you, and let's face it, most garages are going to get filled up with other stuff anyway, there's going to be nowhere to park. So, and I thought we had talked about having driveways long enough for 2 cars. So why we put these conditions in, I don't know, but that's my objection to it.
I will tell you why, and I'm happy to show you the pictures if I can find them here. And we went through this deal with the Tampa Bay Builders Association on what was the right amount of pavement in front of these. And if you have a 1-car garage and 2 lanes of pavement, it's just all concrete in the front. And I'll show you those pictures if you want to see them from the preserve to remind you what they look like. And they look like ghetto. So what they're supposed to do is have accessory parking places around the property. But this is why I don't like front-loaded townhomes. I think they should be rear-loaded. But I'll let them come up, but I'm gonna show you a picture.
Okay. Ms. Wilhite, or? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Barbara Wilhite, 8627 Grand Boulevard, Newport Richie.
I'll drop a pin.
So
You've been
this is
sworn?
PM 26, which is what you all adopted.
You've been sworn?
Yes, I've been sworn. Thank you. This is PM 26, which the board adopted after much deliberation and back and forth and balancing things with the TBBA. They represent builders. I represent a property owner. We held off, the property owners represented myself, from moving this forward so you could settle on what you wanted in PM 26, and so that we could adopt it into this rezoning. So I'd ask you not to retrade PM 26 on a site-specific project, especially when we have no builder here, we have no TBBA here, and these changes do have ramifications. If you want to visit PM 26, that's fine, but we did everything right here, and we're at the end of the road, and would ask you not to, on this specific matter, try to change PM 26 without having the right stakeholders in the room, please.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm fine to continue it, but the discussions we had, I'm sure we didn't agree on, that we had length for parking for not just 1 car, but 2 cars.
I don't
This
know
language is
about
in-
the depth.
This language is in many, many documents.
Yeah.
They've got approved.
Um,
It didn't make it up, I did not make it up for this particular project. This is language
So
that's
this-
been approved over and over since PM 26 was approved by this board.
So the driveway's 26 feet, is that what you're saying?
So what it says is the
Handles 2
driveway should be a
cars.
maximum of 2 feet wider and taller than the driveway door, the garage door width. That's what the language says.
Yeah, and there's a reason why, and I'm gonna look for that photo.
Right, as I recall listening to the discussions, it was that balance between green space and pavement and functionality and driveways, and that's what I recall the conversation with the Builders Association.
They
And-
worked long and hard on this.
Well,
I'll send the photo. Who was it that I sent it to? What's her name?
Sonia.
Sonia. This is what we don't want. Sonia Toolman. Oh, what that's? Sorry, Sonia. Sonia Tool. Nope. I don't know why the other Sonia's showing up. What's your ST? There it is, okay. Sending that to you, just to remind you what we don't want. And Barbara, do you have other parking spaces in the complex for guests?
Again, PM 26 covered all those items,
Yeah.
and so we incorporated PM 26. I do not have a builder. We represent, myself and Mr. Berner represent the property owner, and we've been at this for a while. We held off many multifamily apartment developers and worked with, to the point where we had the property owner commit to platted townhomes. So it's been quite a journey, and then we held off to wait for PM 26 because we wanted to see you guys settled in on what your standards were for townhomes. So we tried to do everything right here.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
And a part of the reason for me with reservation, we're going from commercial property to residential, which generally goes against my flow.
Yeah.
But when we looked at this, and I know we had a discussion about the impervious situation, et cetera, how do you want to have it? I wanted to give the flexibility to the builder to be able to go if they wanted the extra 2 feet, if they thought it was good for their product. But as far as the length of the driveway, with vehicles come in, we talked about trucks, et cetera, you know, we talked about that. So I don't know when this changed or why it didn't change, but that was one of my strong concerns, and I thought we had addressed at least the parking where it wasn't just gonna be a one-car thing. I mean, I just don't see where you're gonna set it up.
This is a picture where.
This
we
is
all
what
do
happens
concrete.
when you have the single-car garage and two-lane driveway. There's no place to put any landscaping. That's why they worked hard with the Tampa Bay Builders Association and others to come up with a plan that's quite specific on the ratios of green space to concrete. So,
May I add about the commercial? So this land use has been changed to residential. This is our 4th public hearing on this matter, our 2nd one before you. You did change the land use to residential. The zoning was what was called a conflict zoning, which means the C2 zoning preceded your comprehensive plan in the year 1990. And what the comp plan said was, is it commercial or is it residential? Because you had a commercial zoning that preceded a residential land use. In this case, your comp plan said this is not the appropriate place for commercial, and so we couldn't change it to commercial. It had to be residential. So the comp plan was changed to allow for this project, and that's gone to the state and is effective now. So that just wanted to remind you the history about because I understand the issue with commercial when you see that, but that's the history.
And again, I'm aware of that, Mr. Chairman, but it's
Yeah.
just a matter of, again, we're making a change. What do we want to end up with here? And I just don't want to see people parking in the street, nowhere to go. I mean, I've lived that situation with my girls when they were up in Orlando, and no one had a parking spot. You had 1-car garage, 1 spot, and you had 3 girls living in the apartment.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, just didn't make any sense. A 1-car garage, 1 parking spot, and then you got to go try to find a spot. It was a battle all the time.
you know what I would suggest is maybe if you have a 1-car garage, maybe you have a limited, you can't have 3 bedrooms. I mean, maybe, but I'm not okay with concreting the whole front yard.
Well, that's the extreme that you're showing the picture of. That's not going to happen even with what's in place now. That is something we do want to prevent. I've seen that as well as we're driving around, but we're not going to get that anyway. And the things we put in place are going to help to keep from getting that. But again, to me, if you're going to be walking out of your little narrow driveway, you're going to walk in your grass anyway. It's going to be tough getting in and out anyway. And give the builder flexibility on that part. But again, I haven't seen anything satisfying as far as what the parking situation is going to be.
Well,
So what's this gonna look like, Terry? Have y'all, it's not gonna look like this picture, right? This project?
Commissioners, this is why you did PM 26. This is why you spent
with
all last
agree
year
with Barbara.
going, debating and figuring out what you wanted to do for standards, so that it wouldn't look like that. I don't have a builder, so I can't render for you. But you did PM 26, spent a lot of time, and we waited, held this project back so that you could settle on that and so that we could copy it verbatim into this deed restriction.
So, Terry, what's the solution here? We got anything written that tells us we gotta have so much green space in these products?
Mr. Chairman, I mean,
Yeah.
so the planning department adopted
Yes.
the memo 26, PM 26, to address this scenario.
Right.
Ms. Wilhite is representing that the deed restrictions reflect that memo. Commissioner Mariano wants to give them more flexibility than that, or wants, I'll let him speak for himself, but what's before you fixes this picture, it's my understanding.
That's correct.
The memo fixed that.
That was
The
the
memo
intent.
fixes it. It won't be
To
like
avoid
that.
this scenario, we worked together with the Board of County Commissioners and the industry and the planners and the planning department at the time to not repeat this by establishing these standards. And in the standards of PM 26, which I think are outlined in the agenda memo as well, there is a landscaping table that's provided therein to help guide the avoidance of what we see in this picture. And so the dimensions that were crafted in that memorandum that are now incorporated into various deed restrictions and conditions of approval across many projects are these limitations on the final widths of driveways so that they don't extend themselves and limit or make it impossible to install the landscaping that we're also requiring. So everything's been balanced and optimized in that sense within PM 26. Just as a point of reference for this particular property, or the subject property here, it was always the case that the comprehensive plan had designated this as residential, future land use. The recent comprehensive plan amendment brought it to a Res 6 designation. We attempted to correct the flu, so to speak, to make it for commercial, but none of the policies of the comprehensive plan would support the application of the commercial designation. And so because it was already residential, we maintained it and kept it as residential. The board adopted that. It made sense to increase the density to Res 6 at the time because this is a major frontage. And this is where we tend to put more than single-family detached. In other words, in this case, townhomes. So that's why the PM 26 standards are included in this.
Mr. Chairman?
development.
Yes.
So, keep in mind, I'm okay with going through with the zoning, et cetera, as far as going to the residential part of it. The way the property's situated, it's got some issues that are different, so I'm okay with that. I'm just making reference to it. But look, the flexibility to go from 2 feet to 4 feet is something I talked about a long time ago. And again, the townhome products with one-car garages, you could have a 3-bedroom place, could be a 2-bedroom place even, right? And you've got 4 people living there. You're gonna have 1 parking spot and 1 garage space. It just doesn't work. And I haven't heard anything to say what's gonna cover it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind continuing so we can have more discussion to it, but I don't wanna see this going, especially with that condition number 5.
Are there any other spaces for this,
What-
extra spaces?
Yeah, how many,
in this
what's the
product?
rate?
So you guys,
Somebody.
commissioners, I don't have a builder.
Oh, you don't have a builder?
I do not have a builder. I have a property owner. And we have, again, we waited for you to do PM 26. All of those things were debated and you settled on PM 26. You've approved, until this moment, projects with these exact same standards in them, many of them, since PM 26. So I can't help you today, and I would ask you, if you all wanted to go back and look at PM 26, you can do so, but it's really not fair to this client that this one gets picked to debate PM 26.
This is a Euclidean straight zoning, so it defaults to whatever your land development code requirements are, or this PM 26, which is sort of above the land development code and that, but it's the same parking requirements that you would require of this type.
Right.
And if they only have one spot in front of their townhome and and I don't know the requirements, Liam may know the requirements, or Terry off the top of their head, but if it requires 1.5 spaces or 2 spaces, that's what you've set as the requirement, and they're gonna have to make it up someplace on the site if there's only one spot in front of the town.
We took care of that by requiring a certain amount of other spaces within a development in that memo. Are you guys trying to find that? Is that what's going on over there?
No, we were just checking the parking against the land development code.
I don't know how to get the little man to drop onto the road anymore and bring up the views, the street views. It's like went away. But, you know, we addressed all this stuff, and we addressed the extra parking, because I get it. And if there's not enough, then they're blocking the sidewalk, and I'm telling you, the solution to all this is a rear-loaded townhomes. It really is. Go with me there, let's just do rear-loaded townhomes. We wouldn't have this problem, because they can park multiple cars in the back, and then they can park a car on the street. It slows the traffic down, it's safer for everybody, and they look much better.
Again, Mr. Chairman, I think we discussed the park. I'm a little concerned staff doesn't have the answers for us. And if this is the way it's going through, again, I wanted to see the flexibility from the get-go. I don't recall it ever coming back to us to say, we're not going to do the flexibility. I know the parking was a big issue, and I don't think, from the sound of it from staff, I don't see it's resolved. Maybe there's something more coming.
All right, Terry?
Mr. Chairman, for the parking question, if you have a 2-car garage on the unit, you'll have 2 cars able to park in the garage, 2 cars to park on the driveway. That's 4 cars total. The land development code for townhomes is, or single-family attached units, is 2 spaces per unit. So those 2 spaces could be in the garage, and you'll have another 2 spaces on the driveway too, depending on the length of that driveway. All of that would be deliberated and considered at the time of site plan review, so that whatever is proposed must meet the parking requirements of the land development code. You won't be able to do a variance per se on the parking requirements.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
He's not answering the question. The question comes to number 5. What about the townhome products with a 1-car garage shall have 1-car driveways? That's the issue. Not a 2-car,
Yeah.
one car.
In the 1-car scenario, you would have,
3.
you're still required 2 per unit, so it would be 1 car in the garage, 1 car in the driveway too.
What if
So
I have 3 people living there or 4 people living there? Where are they going to park?
I don't think we manage that part.
But I'm saying that
Yeah.
it was a discussion that came up with this board, and I gave the specific example. My daughters were living in a 3-bedroom, 1-car garage, so you had the 1 parking spot in the garage, the 1 parking spot in the driveway, and someone had to run around trying to find a spot. And when someone had to leave, if someone's car was in the garage, the other person had to come out, move the car, and go. It's a disaster. Moving up and
Oh, I
down the
understand.
streets were super narrow too. There wasn't nowhere to park. I mean, literally, we're going to create that.
Was this in a college town?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't
Well,
matter what it's called, it's college town or not. It's
Where I lived before in the States of Fort King, you would have like a 3 or 4 bedroom apartment. You'd have 5 or 6 cars. So it's strange how, you gather, everybody's being subleased, so all these guys are college students or they work, they all live together, but it's a disaster as far as parking, so. And they end up parking in the streets. It's hard to go down the streets. But I don't know how you correct that. 'Cause-
But, yeah, you cannot correct that with a front-loaded townhome. You can't.
Yes, you can.
You can't put 6 parking spaces in front of a 2-car garage.
What for?
Huh?
What
Then the
for?
whole thing is, the whole front yard is concrete.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
They gotta park somewhere.
Yeah, they gotta make some extra parking spaces, or if you have 6 people in a 3-bedroom townhome, you shouldn't be living there.
They end up
That's too
parking in
many
the
people
street.
anyway. Shouldn't be allowed to have that many cars.
Mr. Chairman, there
So
is,
we can't fix that problem.
Can't judge that.
there is a code requirement for visitor parking too. It's 0.25 spaces per unit for visitor parking. Now, we have worked with various townhome developments at the site plan review stage to identify locations of opportunity where additional on-street parking, for example, can be accommodated. That has taken place in the past. So the question is very much a site planning matter. And the code establishes the code required amount of parking, and then we try to identify what more can be done within the confines of the land development code to accomplish a good site plan.
Another thing that happens with these is that if you wanted on-street parking, someone's explained to me, when you have the 1-car garage, if you have a 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, and you want to have on-street parking, there's not enough green space in between some of these places to do on-street parking. So maybe we just don't allow 1-car garage anymore.
I'm with that.
So, but
I
no,
mean,
but you
this is-
can't make that rule now, but it's something that we have
No.
to.
So what's the pleasure of the
But-
board on this one?
But for me, it's not okay to pave the whole front of these townhomes. That is a look that we don't want.
Then make the building shorter and put more separation between them.
Make
Don't
them rear
allow-
loaded and you won't have this problem.
I'm okay with that too. But this is a disaster coming. You're creating a slum of the future. Nowhere to park.
Okay. So this is a public hearing, so does anyone here wish to speak to this item?
There's no one signed up.
And no one signed up.
No, sir.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
Just under discussion, I have a lot of homes in the western side of the county where they have 1-car garages that aren't even garages anymore.
Yeah, storage units.
And they've got 5 trucks parked on the grass.
Yeah.
It looks horrible, horrible. The grass is dead. Next time you go to Amskills, just look across the street and just see what people have done to their homes. Horrible. So it's an interesting discussion, but I would not allow parking in your yard. But I also don't want them to pave their whole yard either, so it's a problem.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay.
So, I mean, you can go to a lot of places in West Pasco, a lot of those little places were built for retirees, 2-bedroom houses, 1-car garage, 1-car driveway. And all over those places, the families have moved in.
Yeah.
Right? And now what have you got? You got all sorts of people parking all over
converted
the
the
yard.
garage.
Code enforcement nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare. So putting something like this with that one condition in there, you're encouraging that same thing to happen again, because later on when they get crowded, there's nowhere else to park. Where are they going to park? Just like they do at the other places, right in the grass.
Well, if I was someone renting an apartment and there were going to be 3 drivers in it, I wouldn't get a 1-car garage, I'd get the 2-car garage.
What if you don't have a choice?
So
Are all these one-car garages?
she doesn't have a plan yet.
No, there's no plan. So,
The plan is to follow exactly what you told us to follow.
That's what she's saying. She doesn't even have a builder yet. This is
Right.
just,
so
Again, we
actually,
waited
when we
for
get,
this to-
when
we
we get
waited
the
so-
actual plan, we'll be voting on
that's
that
when we would
plan?
be doing
No,
it.
and
No,
well, no,
it will
I
be-
mean, you won't
it'll
see
be
the site plan, the
approved.
staff will.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
We waited, because I didn't have a builder. We waited for you to
Yeah,
do
this is
PM
not fair.
26 so we could get to this day.
Chairman,
Yes.
I very much appreciate Commissioner Rion's point, Commissioner Starkey's point, but we worked the quagmire in. Ms. White and her client, they waited as we went through the changes, and we fought pretty doggone hard to stiff arm multifamily developers to come and take this piece. It's been, what, a year or so that we've been working through this, and they've been patient, and the landscaping standards and the parking, everything that goes into it. I just, knowing the history to get to here and the negotiations that took place, I would likely support this just due to the amount of work that's gone into it. I don't know if there's a way if we approve it, a verbal, whatever, county attorney to incorporate Commissioner Mariano's concerns and some of Commissioner Starkey's concerns to avoid the potential of what's being described, I'd like to do that, but this project has incorporated, you know, all of the board's concerns and the comments that we worked with TBBA, and and including the residents, the neighbors there. They weren't really overly excited, if I recall right, that with commercial potentially coming in, and they definitely didn't want to see multifamily, and so the townhomes were a good fit here. So I'll just leave my statement at that.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
Can I ask a question on that? That's a TICO. Was that a TICO easement in the part of that property? Yeah, so you can't build on that, right? That's just part of the property, Barbara?
Yeah, but we did, Commissioner Starkey took your comments when we talked about this last time about potential trail, and Ms. Wilhite took it back, you know, as whatever public access opportunity to.
Right, and a friend of mine's on the board of Amira, which is TICO's parent company, and I'm trying to see if they'll be amenable to opening up property for trails, but I would be supporting this as well.
Yes, Commissioners, it's a Duke easement. We can't build on it.
Duke? Yeah. They're harder. Well, I don't know. I haven't tried one through TICO.
But you did, I mean, Commissioner Stark, when we met with you, you did point that out to staff, that maybe an opportunity there for their trails program.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It's just that the property boundary goes past it.
Well, because it's the easement, so it would, yeah, it's not fee.
Right. All right.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote.
District 2 Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3 Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4 Commissioner Bradford. District 5 Commissioner Mariano.
Nay.
District 1 Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 4-1. Move on to
P64.
64. Did we do 63?
We did
Yep.
63.
We did, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, 64.
Okay, P64 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times October 18th, 2023. It was continued from January 9th to today.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Denise Hernandez, Planning and Economic Growth. Item P64 is PEG 247744. It's a zoning amendment. Dawood Hanny and Nima Tobner Mead for a change in zoning from an R3 medium density residential district and C1 neighborhood commercial district to a C2 general commercial district with several voluntarily agreed upon deed restrictions, which are included in your agenda packet under finding of fact number 2, which includes some of the following. The applicant has agreed to prohibit direct and indirect access to Waverly Avenue, installing a 6-foot-high block wall along along Waverly Avenue and along that portion of Shaw Avenue that abuts residential zoning districts at the time of preliminary site plan. Also including some additional buffering, which includes a shade tree every 20 feet between the block wall and Waverly Avenue, and between the block wall and that portion of Shaw Avenue that abuts residential zoning districts. Then also limiting hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, being closed on Sunday, having a 25-foot setback provided along the south front property line facing Waverly Avenue, not having any overhead doors facing Waverly Avenue, and of course also including the Live Local Act deed restriction that specifically states that the uses will be those uses that are consistent with C2. Also prohibiting certain uses which include car washes, gas stations, drive-through restaurants, self-storage facility, freestanding recreational vehicle and boat storage, and C2 general commercial district conditional uses and special exception uses. Comes to you with a recommendation of approval from the Planning and Economic Growth Department and the Planning Commission. I do not see anyone here signed up to speak. It was on regular because there were some concerns which possibly have been addressed through the voluntarily agreed upon deed restrictions. So if you would please call for public comment.
Okay. Is anyone signed up to speak to this item?
So someone has signed up, but it does not look like he is online, correct, Mr. Peppers? Correct. Okay, so no one is,
No one's here to speak.
no one's here to speak.
Anybody in the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing no one,
Mr. Chair?
pleasure of the board.
Yeah,
Yes.
I want to say, I think staff did a good job with this. I mean, C2's all around it, so I think they did good. Listen to the neighborhood, so for them not to show means they've done great work, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
the applicant was willing to agree to the voluntarily agreed upon deed restrictions, and the planning commission really did a great job
yeah, well, appreciate that.
getting to that point.
Okay, move approval?
Question. I listened to the planning commission meeting on this. Was this did you have two of them or one? Planning commission?
We had one planning commission meeting. It's been continued, so it was
Yeah.
continued at one point in time. So yes,
But there were some code violations around there?
code violations on, you may know, or Liam might know more information on that.
So there was code violations on the
Name?
adjacent property, Liam Devine, Planning and Economic Growth Department. There were some code violations. The property owner actually owns an adjacent property that had code violations, and he was cited for that and is going through the process of correcting those violations.
State your name.
So I'm looking
He
at the
did? I didn't
map,
hear him.
and I'm looking,
I know who he is.
like, what road is that? Is that 54? Is it on 54? I'm looking up 54 at
Oh,
the
that-
building with the orange roof. I don't know, Jay.
Yeah,
Is
so
that his property? Whose property?
That's
is
his
that?
property, but that property is not included in the subject rezoning.
Okay,
So
but how
he
did he concrete the whole thing?
So that would be for his adjacent property. He could speak to that, but that's not related to
I
this.
just, someone
rezoning.
needs to look at that, because you're not, I
Yep.
mean, the whole front of that commercial piece is concrete, from side to side, so I'm just curious. Just want to call that out to someone to look at. It just bothers me when people come in and do things against our rules, and I guess that's a subject for another day, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate that someone at the planning commission, lots of times it's John, points out code violations around property that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And I hope that when he does, that someone alerts code, or minimum housing or someone, and they go out and do take a look at it, that it doesn't just fall on deaf ears, because they don't all have to come from commissioners' offices. They should, anyone can turn in code violations. But I'm looking at a building that paved the whole front yard, right next to it, so.
Okay. Motion,
I have a motion on the floor to approve.
Second.
So, and that's the primary motion to zone it to C2. So you've got three motions on this, in this particular one, but it's the primary motion, which is to rezone to C2, just for clarity.
So
Yes, sorry if I may. There were provided alternative motions. Since this was a little bit of a controversial item at Planning Commission, staff provided alternative motions. I don't know if you want me to go through the alternative motions, but staff is recommending approval.
As I just want, for the record, that the motion that the commissioner is making is to rezone it to C2,
which is alternative motion 1.
which is the primary motion,
Right. That's the
not the alternatives.
motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
so I got a motion and a second by roll call vote.
District 2 Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3 Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4 Commissioner Bradford. District 5 Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1 Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. That ends the public hearing items. All we have left is old business, except you wanted to
Yeah, I wanted
discuss
to-
one item, so.
Well, I wanted to discuss a philosophy and suggest that maybe we workshop it. I know that when a multi-family developer or whatever comes into my office, and I know that you did this, Commissioner Waitman, I really try and encourage a better site plan that adds some value to the community around it, because we've just been approving these apartments with no thought to the connectivity or how it affects sometimes the community around it, and you know, we've approved so many, it makes me nervous. And I just want them to be the best they can be within the parameters that we have. And I do feel bad when someone's come in with engineered or, engineered layouts. And I know that the applicant has spent a lot of money and time coming up with a fit plan, as my husband calls them. And then based on what each one of us tell them, they start going back to the drawing board. So I just wondered if it made sense for us to workshop or discuss what we're looking for, and so that people like Barbara or anyone who's got a client, they can kind of direct them to, hey, you just plop this stuff down, they're not going to approve it. For example, Fletcher. If you saw the one by the airport with all the town apartments in the front, the townhomes in the back, there is nothing redeeming about that plan, and there is no way I'm going to vote for that like that. It's just how many units can you fit on a piece of property and maximize the value of the property without any thought to quality of life for anyone living in there or around it. And so I just personally am trying to be a lot more thoughtful about what these look and feel like. And I wanted to share that with you because I don't know what you're doing in your meetings because we have sunshine. But that's what I'm doing in mine. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'll jump in if I may, Chair. I'm highly, Barbara say this multifamily project comes in our office, I'm pretty critical.
Yeah, same.
And I challenge them, what's the amenities going to do? What's going to bring the quality of life? Where's the, an opportunity for entrepreneurship to occur? And that was really the driving force behind the project we saw last meeting.
An island.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
And it was nice to have the developer there who was genuinely listened and worked through, when we must have met half a dozen times probably, going back and forth, and I was pretty frank with them, told them to kick rocks a number of times, but they kept coming back and wanted to be a good partner, and they came up with something unique. And I'm hoping that that project's the catalyst, right, which I think was brought up this conversation, to what's our identity, what's our multifamily style living, what's our identity, what do we want to see in Pasco moving forward. So I'd be welcome to a workshop and bring in stakeholders and maybe see what's working around the rest of the country, and find something that fits for us. I mean, our residents come to us every day, they're looking for amenities, quality of life, and it's an opportunity with that many folks coming into an area to create a nice ecosystem to live in.
We certainly don't want to build a community where they have to get in their car and go somewhere to do anything. And I keep having the planners pull up the one on Island. I keep the book from, I never remember the name of it, the something village, Pasadena Village? I don't know. The one that Mr. Landis did, where it has the village green and the commercial properties overlooking the village green, and then there's apartments, and then there's townhomes around that. I keep that site plan in my office. I'm gonna keep the Island one. I might pull out the one that we did at in Odessa, where they put the two restaurants, kind of like what they did on Island, but it's a tighter piece of land with a little green space in between, and a walkway to the back. I mean, I think we should have some good examples of what we're looking for, and we don't have to approve these. So if they want to come in with multifamily and townhome, we can require a better product.
Mr. Chairman?
I also don't think they should be stucco all the way up and down.
Yes?
Are you going to shut me down?
No, I'm not going to shut you down. I am going to make a pitch that it's probably been 5 years since I've made, which is most of what is coming before you is Euclidean, is straight zoning. We are now starting to get into a position of putting deed restrictions on Euclidean zoning to rule out things that we don't want in a particular zoning classification. The issues that both in the conversation on the townhomes and what you're bringing up is they are areas where if you refined your code, the developers would have to comply with those changes. I mean, number of parking spaces, green space design, all that sort of thing are things that you can put in your straight zoning categories and in your PD categories, but especially in the straight zoning categories, and get you to where you're not having to have meetings to impose your will on them. It's certainty and
It's understood.
It's what your code requires, and
We
it's
need to do that.
practicality and certainty that they can see this is your expectation when they come in to do business in Pasco County. And so that's the pitch from your lawyer that I've not made in a couple of years, so I'm trying.
I like it. I mean,
Right.
I think it's appropriate that we tighten these things up.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So I agree, the certainty is a good thing, and Mr. County Attorney, thanks for bringing that again, because I think it's something we should put in. You know, the difficulty with that previous zoning we had, literally, we discussed it. I thought we had pretty well resolved all but one, the first one, but I don't see anything addressing, you know, the things we're concerned about what's going to happen. So I think that needs to come back. Let's go review that, and let's go look at our rezoning. What do we really want from these things? As far as the apartment conversation, everywhere I go, they say, too many apartments. We've got way too many. And we've granted them when we didn't have to. Saddlebrook, we could even force that off to the side, wouldn't affect it directly in there. Seven Oaks, didn't have to do that one. Overpass, I know we're fighting that, because there's even more pressure coming up. I think we got some meetings coming up, I know I do. We were just studied recently. I think Connected Cities had commissioned the study to do it, to study how are we doing on commercial development. And I'm happy to say we're going to, in a very short period of time, David is going to probably do the presentation, if not the next meeting, the meeting after. We're actually the #1 commercial producing county in the state of Florida. And that's done with the infrastructure we put in place, and I think the incentives to go along with it, and this board pushing for good commercial development. So we've done a lot of good stuff, but we got to watch what's going to come up next. And again, the citizens I'm talking to, especially Trinity, Wesley Chapel, they've seen enough. They don't need more. I mean, 19, we could probably use a few for if they're affordable, not with all the amenities in the world, but true affordable units. There's some use for it, but especially the Wesley Chapel, Trinity area, there's 41's a concern. Like, we did one today, but that already had density in it, and I'm glad that they actually took some of the apartments up and put townhomes in it and kept the commercial locked in, and they're working real close with us to make a north-south connector road that's going to help with the traffic flow. So that type of thing, working with them, you know, that's a good thing, but it's definitely something we need to keep an eye out for.
I thought we had asked for a study of a map of approved apartment or multifamily sites. Do we have that yet? I mean, in a way, whenever we approve one, we should see what's around, you know. It's hard sometimes to see it in context to what's around it.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to have that kind of map.
Good afternoon, David Engel, Planning and Economic Growth Director. So the board's conversation today is music to our ears, and we heard you loud and clear when you conducted a workshop and discussed land use and expectations. So since I've been the director of the department, now it's about 4 weeks, we've already proactively engaged developers trying to come up with better outcomes on these developments. I'll give you an example. Gower's Corner was a Clark Hobby project. Next door was Barbara Wilhite's project, 4152. They weren't plop and drops. We actually asked the two attorneys to get together with their developers and integrate these facilities into one holistic community. So we're building communities, not cut and paste development. So the retail, the situation of multifamily tucked away behind open space and wetlands and things like that were very thoughtfully designed. So as you probably hear, some of the attorneys we reach out to them, we ask them to sit down. And if you look at most of our actions, we basically your board is in a discretionary position because it's either a rezone request for Euclidean zoning or a comp plan amendment. So that gives us the latitude to come up with better outcomes in a collaborative fashion. So we're doing that. As far as the entitlement study, the board had requested that we do Connected City and VOPH, and those studies are coming to a close, and we're also working on a countywide entitlement study. Also looking behind the curtain at planning and economic growth, we are working on performance standards for like TND, form-based zoning, depending on where it is in the county, and other mechanisms to have much more collaborative, beneficial development, because we only have one crack at the apple. We can't, once something's in the ground, it's there 50 to 60 years plus. So we take your guidance seriously, and we are moving forward.
That leads me to say something else I'm telling them when they come in. And a lot of times you see the apartments in the back and commercial in the front, and it's a fast food with the parking lot, fast food with the parking lot, fast food with the parking lot. I don't want to do that to any more roads than what we did to 54. It's not a good development plan at all. So I don't know what the answer is. I'm not a planner, but I know when I don't like something, and that is what I don't like. I don't know. I don't think
David,
I don't like it. We shouldn't copy it again.
Again, we hear you, and I'll give you another example. Barbara here. Barbara brought in a commercial development on State Road 52 near Murata, and we actually created a neighborhood commercial embedded in the center, not on the periphery, with walkability and access. So we are moving away from strip commercial to more thoughtful commercial, being integrated in a walkable community. Secondly, we are holding collaborative sessions now with our land development community on drive-through restaurants, on car washes. So we're moving forward, and we provided the county administrator and our ACA board priority projects with delivery dates, and we'll be adding to it for TND and some of the other things we're working on.
So I want to throw out to you all an invitation. I'm going to go. There's something called the Congress for New Urbanism. My brother-in-law's been on the board for years, and their annual meeting is in Cincinnati. And I will have my assistant email to you the different breakouts that you go on, and you literally go. And you go and see a part of the neighborhood out, around that area that used the form-based code and what it did for them. Rear-loaded neighborhoods. There's all different, I couldn't believe all the very interesting field trips that you go on. And so it's I think it's in April. I don't remember the dates right now, but I'm gonna go, and I'd love for more of y'all to go. I'm trying to get the county administrator to go, love for you to go, whoever. And when we went to Bentonville, it really opened our eyes to what more can be done with trails. And we're bringing back some of those ideas, and Keith will explain to you one of his big projects that's coming when it's ready for him to explain. But when you can go and see what communities have done that we say we want to do, it's powerful. So I would invite you to go. I think it's really important that these things get fixed sooner rather than later, because we're so busy, and we're approving things, and I know we want to improve them in a better way. And I think we pretty much are all on the same page on most of the stuff, so. Which I'm grateful for, because from what I hear, a lot of counties are not like this.
Yeah.
So we get along pretty darn well.
What David said is we're moving toward what you're talking about. So
Quickly.
yeah, because it's fast moving. It's coming quicker.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
There was an item I wanted to bring up, but if it's not too late.
Only 247.
It'd be kind of a quick one, and I don't need a decision on it today, but I just want to throw it out there because it was brought to me as Commissioner Waitman had brought up the surplus lands about should we go out to nonprofit, should we go otherwise? And I don't think I made this point clear enough, and I know it was a longer day, so maybe it just didn't sink in, and we did make a decision, but we can't reconsider, but I just want to throw it out there. The thought was to a contractor that I talked to that was interested in buying some properties. I said, well, we're looking at this discussion now, hang on. The discussion went pretty much, well, let me ask you this. If you're going to go put this stuff out for bid, if you let everybody bid on it, let's say a nonprofit may bid $1,000, you may get a profit when they say, I'm going to bid $20,000. You may get a situation where you owe in fees that are owed, like $5,000, that you're not going to collect from the nonprofit for $1,000, but you'd be able to collect that money for the profit. Is it something, you guys were the motion in the majority, you'd consider, should we throw it out there to let the profit and nonprofit and then make a decision once we look at the offers what we want to do? Because if it's so close, you could say, let the nonprofit have it, but if it's a big gap and the profit's going to pay more money, we can pay off some of the debts that we're going to have to pay somebody, do we want to consider that?
And here's why I would say no. And we're talking about 10 a year. I don't even know if we could do 10 a year. But how many?
5 to 10 per year.
Five a year. They already have an opportunity to go buy it before it comes to us. Because it's come to us because they didn't pay their taxes. So they have that opportunity already. Go do your homework. But when it comes to us, it's our ability to help a nonprofit put something out that helps a family begin a journey of home ownership. So I think that is part of our responsibility to help people get home ownership. And so it's very little skin off our back, but it helps these nonprofits build these homes, which we have already put in the rule that it has to go to someone who has an income restriction. So I think that's a noble project, and I think not doing projects like that is what brought us Live Local. You know, NIMBYism, turning down a project. We had one at Bear Creek that would have been wonderful. The units were nicer than the houses around it in some cases, but we voted it down. And so I think that study is going to show we have a problem when it gets to the lower income people of being able to find something that's affordable. And I think that's a noble thing to have 5 lots a year go to help someone build a house for someone who's income challenged. Also, we control more of what kind of product they put in there. If it's just someone buying a lot, they could put a mobile home on there, a used mobile home or something, and not improve that neighborhood. So the other thing this does, in my opinion, is starts to restabilize a neighborhood. So that's why I don't want to go down that path.
Okay, just wanted to bring it up.
Okay.
Still time.
Yep. All right, we'll move.
We're going to keep working on you guys.
Yeah, we'll move to back to ordinary business, and I think Mr. Cabala's up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one item. We were approached by the town of St. Leo. They had an immediate need for fire and life safety, permitting, plan review, and inspections. So I am asking the board to approve, ratify, and confirm my actions of entering into an interlocal agreement with the town for a period of 6 months to provide those services. They would pay us our normal fees as though any other developer would pay, but it helps provide them those services until they're able to sort things out on their end.
Right.
And in addition to that, if you would add the city authorizing the administrator to sign for the same agreement for the city of Dade City, who is also in the market for
we've got one of those coming as well.
services.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Did you want to talk about the March 22nd meeting? Isn't that
I'd
when
like
that
to get a motion on.
Let's
Get that one done while I figure out what's going on in March.
On
So
that.
move.
Second. Got a motion and a second by roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Okay,
Don't we want to shout out to that meeting, about that meeting?
So this is the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, Pasco
Yes,
County
Interdepartmental and Municipalities Recovery Listening System.
listening session.
That's
Yes.
Dr. Bellis's deal, and
Yeah, Mark, are you, you're not here.
it's going to be,
It's going to be at 9 a.m. It's in our EOC, I believe.
yes,
And, yeah,
that's going to be where all the different federal agencies are going to be there and talk about all the money they have for our
Correct.
projects, and they want to hear good ideas on projects.
yes, and so we will be participating in that, and it's going to be a hoot. That's all, sir.
that's all you have?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Steinstein?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I have no comments.
That's a little too long. So, yes, ma'am. You have something?
No, sir.
Oh, my gosh.
Just moving
Oh,
along
well,
today.
Y'all moving right along? Yeah, fine. I have a few items. February 23rd, I attended the Engine 16 push-in at State Road 54 in Zephyr Hills. On that day, there we go, we're pushing that truck in.
Nice.
Thank goodness for a driver and an engine that works. But very nice, pushes almost $1 million trucks in, so. But the next one, we went over to, just off 41 to Station 28 and had a ribbon cutting ceremony. And we were able to rededicate this station. It's the first time it's had a, what do they call it?
This is the one on 41?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, it's
The old
on
volunteer
Hale
station.
Road, just off 41.
But off-
Off of Hale Road,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but their rededication of the fact they have officers there that are working for a living there rather than volunteers.
Oh,
They used to all be
Before it was
volunteer. And the fact of it is, this station, within this past year, since they've opened that back up, has done 900 calls.
Yeah, I was going to add
And
to
it-
that.
It's
Yeah.
within
Correct.
2 other stations, it's within
Yeah, it splits,
8 minutes of
splits
the
the
other
gap
2
of the service
stations.
area. Yeah,
Wow.
it splits the gap of the service area, so it was a great idea by Chief Perez and the team to really identify ways to improve response time. And so
Yeah.
by reusing this asset, we've been able to do that in the Land O'Lakes area, so.
Right.
great.
And while we were there, waiting on the ribbon cutting and doing what we were doing there, they had a call that both EMS and the fire engine went out on a call. Later, the fire engine came back in. The EMS, they carried a person to the hospital. Then they finally come back in, and right before we were gonna leave, they had 2 calls. They went on separate ways. The engine went one way for a man not breathing, and then
The ambulance.
the ambulance went the other way for another.
They're on the road every time I'm driving around. crazy.
They're always working, so, but
That fatality on 52 last week, my brother watched the whole thing, where that car pulled out, got T-boned from that neighborhood. Apparently, that's a very dangerous intersection. We need to look at it, looking online. I think that's your district? Do you know the intersection where that fatality was?
Where's it
Out-
now?
It's on 52, somewhere near Bellamy Brothers. I'll look on my map here, but, and looking online, it said had just been another fatality at that intersection.
Fatality on Bell Brothers.
oh,
So
they've had some on Bellamy.
it made me think
Yeah.
that we really need to look at this intersection.
Bellamy's a huge Hernando to intersection.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I think it's even Citrus County and Hernando County coming down into our county.
And we're looking into safety improvements along Bellamy
Right.
Brothers.
We're working on those. I've had a meeting out there. Actually, about 100 people in the community attended that meeting. And Branford and his team's working on issues for safety. Reached out to the Sheriff's Department. They put out a traffic speed alarm where it actually counts traffic, but it counts the speed of the traffic. So I think one of the things for safety, we're going to make it where it's a non-pass zone, because the accidents we've had lately have been where cars are passing and then someone turn onto the road in front of them and get a head-on collision. So they've got to do so, there's major things that need to be done.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
So on that note, driving down, the road is pretty tight. We've got a big development coming in.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're designing to make that road wider.
Well, we are looking at that as an end result, but we're trying to do what we can first, to do safety reasons first and answer those. But eventually, one day, we're talking about a rebuild of that entire road, because on down the way, it's not very wide. It's a rural road, and it needs to be widened and going on until it hits Hernando County. So, but that's in the future, and that's something we've really been needing to look at. It has soft shoulders on as you get on down past Johnson Road, in there around the Barthel Ranch and all. There's been several accidents down in and around those curves, and people are passing where they shouldn't be passing. I mean, even though it allows you to, there's too much traffic there anymore for them to be passing and be safe. I attended a workshop down in Dade City this past week, spoke for the Evans family for a mixed-use development piece out here at where the Publix is. And it was a storage unit, but the city council in Dade City were seeming to have an issue with the fact they thought this building was just a standalone, but in fact they didn't realize that the entire 80 acres was a part of the Publix mixed use, because it's got a Burger King, it's got a bank, and then of course this storage unit coming. But some of the commissioners, a couple of them are new, and they're trying to understand things there, and they have never done it before, so they don't quite understand sometimes. I've talked to the city manager, and hopefully they'll get some more training, because they need some of that training to make good decisions for the city. They've annexed a bunch of property into the city, and they can't be naysayers and say no to all the growth that's coming, because in a sense they did it themselves when they annexed property in. So people are coming and the growth's going to happen. So there'll be a lot of good things come of it, but this storage facility will be a nice building. Pays good Avalon tax to the city, which they need, and not much traffic for us, police or anything else that would cause them to have to pay a lot of services for it. But it's a good product. And then
I hope the siting isn't, I hope the site plan is something that's not like what we've done on 54. I hope it's improved.
well, this is not on the road. It's not
I'm just
on the,
saying,
it's not facing out on Clinton Avenue or anything. It's back into the development.
Okay.
So next on, I visited Tropical Acres Estates again. Saw that the FDOT had widened up the time limit on 56 and 301 to release traffic there for a longer period of time, and also back at the other light toward 39, Chauncey Road, they've done the same there, and it's made that traffic kind of spread out, and it's better than it was. But they were having people killed coming out of Florida, Tropical Acres in that property, just trying to get out on the road and go to Zephyr Hills. And eventually there's a light coming there, and FDOT's been working with me to make the conditions out there much better until we get that light there. So, and hopefully within this next year we'll have that light, which will help that community right there. So next thing was, and Chief Perez attended with me, because the first time I went out about a month ago, there was a lot of questions about fire service and how they were handling their calls in their park. So, and he answered those, and it went very good. The meeting went very well. So, March 5th, we held a joint workshop with Newport Richey and Port Richey. I I was actually ecstatic in the fact that Port Richey came, and most everybody came but one or two parties, but, and I think it was a very good meeting that we had. Everybody was, that room was not one-sided like it has been the last 2 years prior to that, when we didn't have Port Richey being a part of it. So I think they're changing, and they're going to be working and do the best for Port Richey. So I look forward to that. So, but and what else we got here? Oh, we had an investiture ceremony. Investiture. An attorney would know that. For the new judge, Newt Nathy, and it was well attended. Basically, it was almost standing room only if you hadn't gotten there early. So the room was full and very well done. And I'm of the understanding he's been working for 6 months prior to this, and everyone spoke very well of the work he was doing. It was very good. So, all right, that's all I have. So, anything else you want to bring up?
Hold on.
Now, y'all realize it's only 5 after 3.
I got meetings tonight, I'm good.
But April 10th is going to be a lot later. We're adjourned.
Wildlife depend on you to keep them healthy. Excess fertilizer, grass clippings, trash, oils, and pet waste wash into gutters and storm drains when it rains. Stormwater carries these pollutants directly into our lakes and rivers, creating